Welcome to the AfroCentric Woman, where our mission is to inspire Black women to heal core wounds and embrace a luxurious and abundant lifestyle. Thank you for joining me. Let's talk, sis.
Hey ladies, I see y'all like my story times, so I'm about to give you another story time about another early devaluation that I walked away from. There were a few other things going on, but the devaluation that happened, oh my goodness, within the first hour of knowing this guy, it put me on alert, and my intuition started to say mayday, mayday, do not proceed. And I'm glad that I followed it. So anyway, met this guy online and we started chatting, and he asked me about what I was doing that evening, and I was going to be meeting up with some friends later on that evening. And so I told him, well, I may have plans later on tonight, but I could maybe be convinced to come out to get a drink. So that's how I kind of set guys up to ask me out. I like to kind of give them an open invitation. I like to be very clear but flirty, but I will not ask you out, and I will not be like, hey, what are you doing? Let's meet up. I will never do that, because I rather the man ask me out. But I will let him know that, hey, if you do ask me out, just to let you know, the answer probably will be yes. So I said to him, I could be convinced to, go out for a drink. And he was like, oh, I really like that. And he mentioned a few really upscale nice upscale bars that I know about and that are nice. And I was like, okay, great. He is right up my alley. These are the type of places that I frequent. So I'm intrigued, and I'm willing to meet this really nice bar restaurant. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, there's a wreck. So we have more time to chat. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, so yeah, we ended up meeting at this bar, and I'm dressed to the nines. I look beautiful, and I asked him to meet me at the door, and because he was already there, and I was running late because I was getting all beautiful, and he didn't give me a hard time about that, which was great. And so we ended up meeting. No, I asked him to meet me at the door, and he was like, oh, I'm just sitting at the table. And I was like, I know, can you meet me at the door? And he was like, well, what's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Please meet me at the door. He called me, and he was like, hey. And I was like, hey, I'm fine. I just don't like walking into a restaurant by myself. Please meet me at the door. He's like, okay, fine. So he comes out, he meets me at the door. He escorts me to the table. We sit down, we're having, we start talking, and then, I order a drink. Well, he orders a drink for me, which, anyway, that's another, I don't know. That was a little, it's all information that makes sense in retrospect, because I really just wanted what I wanted, and he was like, no, try this. If you don't like it, I will drink it. And you order what you want. And I was like, okay. So I ended up letting him order my drink, and we started chatting and talking. There was this older white guy there. I had kind of noticed him, but not too much. But the guy was really preoccupied by him, and he had two younger, I think it was a younger Black woman. I think it was 3 girls around, at his table. And one was a very petite Black woman, and then 2, a blonde white girl and a brunette white girl. And this guy was probably in his 60s or maybe 70s, and these girls looked like they were in their 20s or 30s. And right off the top, I don't know, but the guy mentioned, he was like, yeah, I really like younger women, but I don't like paying bills. And this is the guy who I'm on a date with. Now, on the dating app, he said he was 43. He looks every bit of 48. I have noticed in dating that a lot of guys lie about their age. The guys in their 40s and 50s a lot of times lie about their age. Well, 40s and up. Let's just say 40s and up. A lot of guys 40s and up lie about their age. This is something that I've personally experienced over and over and over and over and over again. So he's saying he's 43. He looks 48. I'm assuming he's 48 to 52, right? But I'm fine. It doesn't matter. I'm still gonna, like, you're still gonna buy me dinner. So, hey, you want to lie about your age? Okay, fine. You know. So, yeah. So he's like, yeah, but I love younger women, but I don't like paying bills. And Dallas, the girls here are such hustlers, and they're always looking to try to come up. And I'm, wow, really? Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. And when I got there, he was like, yeah, it was just, oh no, that happened afterwards. So he mentioned that, and you know, we kind of moved on talking about something else. And I think I said something along the lines of, well, you know, if an older man wants to be with a younger woman, you know, he's usually already understanding that he's going to be, you know, financially stable, more stable than her, and probably doing quite a bit of things for her. And that's just, you know, part of the situation. That's just what it is. And he was like, yeah, you know, I understand. And I just think that sometimes women have too high expectation. Or he said something along the lines of, but if you shouldn't try to get too much, or something like that. And I said, well, you know, everybody's going to have their own preferences, and they're going to try to aim for whatever they want to aim for, and it's up to the other party if they want to entertain it or not. It's really up to the other person, but it's not, you know, it's not up to the person, someone looking on the outside in, saying, oh, you shouldn't want this, or you shouldn't try to get this or that. And he's like, yeah, exactly. I understand, because, you know, you're really beautiful, and, you know, I always aim higher than what I think I can get. So I'm here with you. I mean, it's not like I can get a supermodel. And I'm just like, wow. wow. Okay. That's the devaluation. That's the devaluation right there. He was feeling insecure because I'm younger and I'm really beautiful. And he needed to assert that he's the prize. I'm not the prize. He needed to assert that I don't need to get too full of myself as a beautiful younger woman on this date with him, and that I need to know my place, and that I'm not a supermodel, and I should be grateful to be there with him. And it was just it was very tacky, because, you know, he said he was 5'10". I'm 5. I don't want to tell my height, because I just don't want to I don't want to identify myself yet, y'all. But I'm a tall woman, okay? I'm a tall woman, and I'm very tall with my heels on, because I wear tall heels when I go out. I like wearing like 3.5, 4.5 inch heels, 5-inch heels. I love heels, right? So I'm 6 feet tall, basically, you know, around there, give or take, 6 feet tall with my heels on. So he says he's 5'10". He's every bit of 5'8". Okay, 5'8.5", 5'8", 5'8", 5'8.5". So he's lied about his age. He's lied about his height. He has the Jerry curl type of a thing going on in his hair, like, I don't know, a S curl or something. And he has like this S curl situation going on. Are you gonna let me in? Please let me in, sir. Yeah, he has like an S curl going on, and he has this patch on the back of his hair that's completely gone, like a big bald patch at the back of his head. And to me, I mean, I've dated bald guys. I don't mind, and I do date older men. So I'm used to the situation where a man gets to a point where he has to just cut his hair off and just go bald. And the brother really is at that point. And I don't know why he's hanging on to his hair. I don't know. I don't know why he just won't let it go and just go bald. I mean, I think that would be the best solution, but whatever. He has this huge patch in the back of his head that's gone. It's like, it's part of it's gone, and then part of it's really, 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 really thin. So I wouldn't say, oh yeah, I could be at dinner with a man who's 6'2", but I'm here with your short ass. I'm here with you. Or I could be here with a millionaire, but I'm here with you. I could be here with a man who has a, full head of hair, who's not missing a patch in the back, but I'm here with you. But what's the point of me being rude? Like, why would any decent human being just out of the blue devalue someone for no reason? Obviously, like, I'm never anywhere that I don't mean to be. If I'm at the dinner with you, I mean to be at the dinner with you. And you look more or less like your pictures. You did lie about your height, but that's okay. I know men lie about their height and their age. I'm aware of that, and I accept that that's par for the course. So why would I mention that? And yeah, I could go toe to toe with you, but I just don't want to be pulled out of my femininity. I just don't want to do that. You may be rude and snappy. I just don't want to go there. I took note of this devaluation. It was very important to me. I'll tell you another red flag. So a lot of times, dusty males will ask you, like, well, and he wasn't dusty financially, just dusty mentally. He asked me, well, why are you single, or something along those lines? And I said, I'm really taking my time as far as the relationship is concerned, because I realize how valuable my commitment is, and I want to make sure that I take my time and, commit to the right man. He looked at me when I said my commitment is very valuable. He looked at me like I had two heads. He looked at me like, your commitment ain't worth shit, girl. He looked at me like, I'm telling you, like, he just was like, he didn't believe it. He didn't say anything, but his face said everything. And I took a mental note of that. So this is a man who sees himself as the prize, and he doesn't see the woman as, bringing anything to the table besides, being a resource to him. So that happened, and he was like, well, what are you doing for New Year's? And I said, I'm still kind of working on some plans. I'm seeing what I want to do. He says, oh, well, you're coming out with me. And I said, oh. He said, yeah, you're coming out with me. And I said, well, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, but I do know what I want to wear. I have an idea about the outfit I want to wear. And I'll tell you the honest God truth, y'all. Like, normally, with my other men in my life, if I would have said that comment, they would have been like, well, what is it, babes? I'll get it for you. You know what I mean? They would have been like, well, where is it? Let's go shopping. Let's get the outfit that you want. I want to take you out, and I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to wear what you want to wear. Like, most of the men in my life, the men that I deal with on a regular basis, they would have jumped at the idea of getting the outfit for me. But the fact that he just brushed over that and was like, well, you're coming with me, and I'm going to have you for New Year's, and we're going to do this and that, and this is what I have in mind. And I didn't say yes and I didn't say no. I'm just listening to him go on and on about what he wants, that he wants me to be his New Year's Eve date. I didn't agree to it, and I didn't say I wouldn't go. I didn't say I would go. So he says he wants to take me out, and he's like, well, and I'm like, well, I gotta go. And he's like, well, where are you going? And, well, who are you going to be with? And how many of y'all are going out? And I was just like, oh my God. And I just had to kind of end it. I just needed to kind of get out of there, because I didn't plan on spending my whole evening with him. He was a very new contact, and I had other things planned for the rest of the night. So I ended the night. He called me twice. Maybe like an hour after we departed ways, and then another hour and a half. He texted me, did you make it to your location? And then he called me maybe like 2 more times that night, which I thought was really, really weird. Like, I just met you. What is going on? So I just ignore it. I don't call him back. I don't respond. And then the next morning or next afternoon, I was like, hey, I did make it, and, I'm da-da-da, and I'm okay, and, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, all right, well, he texted me again. He called, I didn't answer. And then the next day, which is, we're into the weekday now, he texted me in the morning. I text him back, and we end up talking that evening. Yeah, he's like, well, what are you doing, later? And I told him that we could talk. So we started chatting, and this is when everything is revealed. This conversation, everything is revealed, and I know that I don't want to see this guy anymore. So he's like, well, yeah, there's a few 5-star there are several 5-star hotels, 4.5 5-star hotels in my area. He's like, well, this hotel's having a party, that hotel's having a party, or we can go to this party. He's talking about New Year's Eve. We can go to this party, and then I'm thinking about a hotel, this particular hotel, and I can get a room for 1 night or 2 nights. It just all depends. I'm still trying to think about things. And he's just going on and on full speed ahead about what he wants to do, and he's going full speed ahead about what he wants to do and hotel. And I said, well, we'll call him Marvin. I said, well, Marvin, we literally just met. I'm not going to be able to stay in the hotel with you. He's like, oh, I know that. I don't know you. And I was like, well, goddamn, he was very sensitive to the idea of me declining staying in the hotel. So he had to quickly switch it around, saying that, oh, no, I wasn't inviting you to stay in the hotel with me because I don't know you. And that's super bizarro, because why would you tell me about these hotel options? Why would you be going on and on and on about it and insisting about this hotel if you weren't insinuating that you're expecting me to be at the hotel with you? Instead of just saying, oh my goodness, I do apologize for being so forward with you. I just, but I understand, and I still would like to take you out. And of course, it's definitely too soon for, a hotel, and we wouldn't do anything like that until you feel comfortable. No. He had to be like, oh no, I'm not inviting you to the hotel. I don't know you. I'm like, okay, bro. So that happened early in the conversation, and so we, start chatting about other things, and I kind of changed the subject. And he's like, but I would like to take you to dinner this week. And I said, okay, well, we'll see about that. He's like, yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to take you to dinner. And so I was like, well, I don't know about childcare. He's like, yeah, figure it out, and, how about 7? 7 good for you, 7? And I'm like, I feel blindsided because I have a whole child that, I have to make arrangements for. And I just, that you have 2 kids yourself. I just feel like, gosh, give me a break. I don't know about tomorrow. You don't have your kids, plus your kids are a lot older, but you don't have your kids full time. So you don't know, you and me, we're not in the same situation. So, he's like, well, okay, yeah, well, just let me know what you figure out for that, and let me know and for dinner. And I'm like, okay. So we move on talking about something else, and he's like, yeah, it was so lovely, you coming to XYZ restaurant bar, and it was just so funny, you came in the middle. I was just going back and forth, and I said, oh, really? With what? And he was like, I was into Twitter, going back and forth on Twitter. And I said, why? Well, what were you talking about? He says, well, it was a black woman on there, and she was only making $35,000 a year, talking about she wants a man that makes $100,000 a year, and I'm just letting her know that she ain't, she can't do that. And I was like, oh wow, really? Because honestly, in situations like that, I don't like to show all my cards. I like to listen to the man. I like to let him be comfortable, and I like to allow him to talk and tell me what is really in the inner workings of his mind. So I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Tell me more. Tell me what's all going on. Yeah, she's talking about she hates the gym. And I said, she said she hates the gym? He said, well, yeah. I said, really? Seems like a very awkward statement. Like, what did she say to say she hates the gym? Like, she said she literally hates the gym. Well, she said she don't really work out like that. Oh, I said, oh, so she didn't say she hates the gym. She said she really doesn't work out like that. Oh, well, yeah, but same thing. I'm like, okay, fine, sure. Interesting. But I told him, I said, well, don't you think that, women and men can make their own dating preferences? Why did you feel the need to go on there and make sure that she knew that her preferences were unreasonable according to you? He's like, well, I just feel like, somebody should tell the truth. Somebody should let her know. And there's a lot of people chiming in, and a lot of people have things to say about it, because a lot of women just don't understand, like, that they need to understand if they're not making that kind of money and they're not in shape and they're not young and blah blah blah, that nobody's going to really want to deal with them like that. And I'm just listening to him. It literally, I mean, because at this time you have to realize that whole Kevin Samuels embarrassing that beautiful woman on his live stream, this is all circulating at this time. So this is a very hot topic.
Yes, so the so-called average at best video clip is circulating all over social media at this point in time. And to be honest, this guy struck me as someone who would applaud Kevin Samuels. And so that's repulsive to me. I'm just not interested in men in males with that mindset. So he's very adamant that this woman is unreasonable with her desires for a high value man. And it's not even that, just the fact that he felt this way, like, and he was just talking to me about it casually. What really worried me and bothered me was the fact that he was actually on Twitter tweeting her reasons why she doesn't deserve it, or she's not qualified. And I just thought, like, this lady is somewhere in Idaho. I don't know where she lives. I'm just saying. This woman is somewhere in Idaho or somewhere in Florida or somewhere in Ohio, living her life, minding her business, tweeting her friends on Twitter. And you feel like it's your duty, an obligation, to go and tell her a list of reasons why she will not get what she wants. What is in it for you? Do you derive some type of pleasure from putting women in their place? I don't know. It's just creepy and weird, and I'm not interested in men with that kind of energy. I like a man who just is too busy for stuff like that. He just doesn't get involved with. I'm interested in a man who doesn't get involved with social media beefs, because he's somewhere making money, he's somewhere being productive, he's somewhere caring for his family or the woman in his life. That's the type of man I'm interested in. I'm not interested in a man who's going to go battle some random woman on Twitter because she said she wants a high earning man. Leave that woman alone. Even if you think she's delusional, let her be delusional in peace without you harassing her. I have a whole video on Don't Argue with Dusties. So please refer to that video where I go more into depth about how these low value males need to just leave us alone. We just want to be left alone. Goodness gracious. That would be the best gift of the universe if Dusties will leave us alone. But anyway, I digress. So a couple other points that I'll say is that he had called quite a bit. So the night of that date, he'd called several times, text several times, like that next day, calling and texting. And then, like, I want to say it was like a Monday that he was calling, and I said, okay, I'll talk to you, this evening. And so we're having this conversation, and something that came out in the conversation, no, it's just like every time I would sort of share something, he would be like, well, to your point. And he would just kind of like, just sort of like, I felt defensive. I felt like I was kind of being put into a defensive mode or a defensive stance because, I'm just sharing, when you're learning about someone and you're sharing ideas and you're sharing perspectives and you're sharing, your worldview and You're sharing, little tidbits about yourself. It's not that like it is the right way or it is the way or you're trying to prove a point. You're just revealing, hey, this is aspects of me, aspects of me that you can learn about. And so it felt adversarial. It felt wonky. It felt a bit argumentative. There was an argumentative undertone to everything. He was really still adamant about, he wanted to have like dinner with me like that next day. He didn't seem at all compassionate about the fact that I told him that, I'll have to hire a nanny, right? He was just kind of like, the way it seemed, his attitude was kind of like, I don't give a fuck, figure it out and just show up to the restaurant. Just like not even concerned as to my making arrangements or offering any type of assistance with anything. Side note, side note, my godmother, I'm learning a lot of her lessons later in life, but I mean, she had told me many years ago that even she was in a long marriage and she was like, even my husband would have to figure out childcare. She was like, he might have wanted me to go out on a date or wanted to do something, and he knows I have these children. He better figure out who's gonna get them, who's gonna how we're gonna do childcare. And so I think she said one time he had got tickets to Earth, Wind, and Fire or someone along those lines. And he had gotten all dressed and he was ready to go. And he comes downstairs. He's like, why aren't you ready? Like, it's time to go to the concert. And she's like, well, I guess you'll have to go by yourself or find someone because you didn't arrange for childcare. And she said after that, he never did that again. He never failed to arrange for care for the children. So, just a little side note of some game that a wise sister put me up on many years ago. But yeah, a lot of my guys will either be very understanding and accommodating to my schedule, or they will just pay for the babysitter and whatever. So there's that. And then ultimately, I can just say that with all those things added up, it just wasn't gonna work. I wasn't excited for dinner. I didn't really like the conversation, and I just think that early devaluation of basically saying like, "Oh, you're not a supermodel." What? I never said I was, okay? And what is the issue? Why can't I just drink and have my food in peace? Why do I have to be devalued in the process of all of this? So, what I did was that day, I just sent him a text message to say that, hey, you know what? I don't think we're compatible. Basically, have a nice life. I don't know what I said, but something along those lines. Basically, we're not compatible. So, we can just go ahead and, bring things to closure at this moment. And I thought that that was reasonable for one date. If maybe we could have a conversation if it were more dates or if it was a more substantial connection. But yeah, just one date. I think a text message is fine. And then I blocked him. Yeah. So anyway, ladies, tell me, how have you stayed for an early devaluation? Or let me ask you this. Have you been in an unfulfilling and or abusive relationship, a relationship where you got used, taken for granted, walked on? Have you been in a relationship with that? And you could just think back if you're like, you know what? On our first date, he said this, or you know what? On our second date, he did that, and it was so rude, but I just laughed it off because he was so fine and I was having fun. And oh, can you think of anything like that? I'm really curious. Have you been in a bad relationship? And now, where you stand today, knowing what you know, being connected to this channel, listening to examples upon examples of devaluation, can you think back to the very beginning of that relationship and think about how this guy started devaluing you and started sort of setting you up for an abusive dynamic? I would really love to read your comments about that below and just your general thoughts on this content. Thanks so much. Peace. Thank you so much for sharing your time and attention with the Afrocentric woman. Special gratitude to our subscribers. If you'd like to stay connected with this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you like this content, please hit the like button. If you have any comments or thoughts about the content shared, please drop down into the comment section and let us know. Remember, you are worthy, you are enough, you are unique, and you are lovable. And I appreciate you.